All right, I got my cherries on the stove. I'm going to get my sugar and I'm going to go ahead and measure out 10 cups of sugar. Just double check my recipe and make sure it says 5 cups. Yeah, 5 cups per batch. So I need to find a big bowl that's preferably not wet. Let's see, what can I put it into? Put it into this Tupperware thing, but it's not going to hold 10 cups. I'm sure it's not going to hold 10 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and just measure out my sugar. Sorry for all the noise. I was watching my video back yesterday and realized I was going through my box of jars. I was making a heck of a racket. It's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Typically, I don't start my cherries until I have my sugar measured, but you know, sometimes things don't go as perfect as you want. Okay, this is 9. Ooh, this looks a little different. Oops. This said that it was super ultra fine, extra fine granulated. It's called Snow White Sugar. I found it at my local grocery store. I've never seen this brand before. But we'll give it a whirl. All right, so once you got your fruit in your pot and you turn it on so you can get it to boil. You bring it to a full rolling boil. And if you don't know what a rolling boil is, it's a boil that you can't, when you stir it, it doesn't stir down. It just continues to boil. That's a full rolling boil. Can you see me? I don't know if you can see me. Pull you up just a little bit. There, I think you can see me now. I don't have fancy equipment to do my videotaping, so you know, I just have to go. I have to just do it as I know how to. I can't believe I've been doing YouTube videos since 2020. It's when I joined YouTube. I have 196 videos now. And I'm pretty much doing it for fun, you know, I mean, my daughter-in-law was the one that said, you know, you should put your recipes on YouTube. So when the time comes that I leave this earth, they have a record of some of my recipes and how I did stuff. And yes, I'm teaching them now how to do canning if they're interested. And but you know that's kind of hard to do sometimes because they're all working and I'm working still. I'm just off for the summer, and that it gets kind of hard to get together and do stuff. Everybody's so busy with, you know, the kids and jobs, and then when the weekend comes, you know, you've got other things you want to do other than canned food. But they're willing to learn, which is a good thing, because if that is something I can pass down to them, that's good, because who doesn't like home canned food and homemade salsa and homemade pasta sauce and pickles? I haven't made pickles in a couple of years. Homemade pickles, homemade jams. I just did yesterday, I did the baked beans. And you know, who doesn't like fresh canned stuff that you know what's in it? You know, there's no preservatives in it. There may or may not be salt in it. I mean, so it's just better for you. As long as your jars stay sealed, it'll last for years. Mine don't last for years. I think I have stuff in there still from 2 years ago. That's the longest I have. Some people have stuff in their cellars, cold rooms, whatever they want to call it, basements, for like a long time. We eat our stuff. We don't have it stored forever. We eat it, we share it. All right, this is the slow process, trying to get it to come up to a full rolling boil. I really enjoy doing cooked jams and jellies over doing freezer jams and jellies, because typically when you do the freezer jam, you have to have the liquid pectin. You have to have typically more sugar, and it's a whole lot more stirring. I mean, this requires some stirring, but making the freezer jam is a lot more stirring. My arms can't deal with all that stirring anymore. And I see on YouTube the people that do the freezer jam, they have 6 kids. Okay, so they all take turns stirring. When I used to make freezer jam, when my kids were younger, they would take turns stirring it. All 3 of us took turns stirring it. Because back then I was doing freezer jam. I wasn't doing any cooked jam. And then I said to myself, let me try the cooked jam and see how it is. And I actually like it better. I like it better. Alright, I'm going to get this up on high. It's boiling, but it's not a full rolling boil like I need it to be. Now be careful with this stuff, because it is extremely hot. And if it splashes on you, you're going to know it. It's going to stick to you like hot glue does. If you've ever been burnt by hot glue, you know what I'm talking about. Now, most of your jam recipes will say to add a little bit of lemon juice to it. This one said lemon juice only if I was using sweet cherries, which I'm not. And I'm wondering if I should have, okay, now in goes my sugar. All I'm going to put all of that in at once. I'll put it all in there at one time. And that's the other reason why I picked this big stock pot, because when you put all this sugar in there, and then you got to bring it back to a boil, and then you got to stir it constantly. I really wish I could bring you over so you could see what it looks like. Then when it comes back to a boil, you got to stir it constantly for 1 minute. Now, I'm sure I have another video out there of doing jams, and when you're cooking your jam at the beginning, it's cloudy. It looks cloudy. But then, when you add that sugar, it starts to get a deep red color and it starts to look clear. You can just tell it looks different. I kind of wondered if I needed extra sugar because I had that little extra bit of cherries. I mean, it wasn't much extra cherries. It was just maybe a half a handful. It really wasn't that much. But I think doing the combination of crushed cherries and the whole cherries was perfect. No, that's pretty sweet. I just tasted it on my spoon with my finger. And that's pretty sweet. This is going to be so good. Something different for the pantry. I mean, I've got peach. I normally do peach jam every summer, but I didn't go get peaches yet. I don't know. I've got plenty of peach jam still from last year. I don't think I'm going to do any peach jam this year. I might go get some peaches to do up some peach pie filling again. I have a recipe for frozen peach pie filling, and that seemed to work pretty well when I made it before. However, I lost it in the hurricane. So I have 2 outside refrigerators, and I had just got done making those peach pie fillings in July, and the storm came in September, and I had the peach pie fillings in freezer bags, vacuum seal freezer bags in the freezer, and we had the freezer bungee corded, but that didn't matter. I mean, that storm pushed, and it's kind of protected under the roof outside. I didn't think it would tip over. I honestly didn't think it would tip over, but it did. That storm picked up that refrigerator and it pushed it, and then it tipped over. So then my husband's out there in the storm, and he's trying to get the bungee cord off, and he's trying to get whatever food in that freezer he could get so we could stick it in our other freezer. And I lost all my peach pies. So that was a shame, but you know, you can't help that. I should have put everything in my deep freezer in the house. You know, you live and you learn. It was a stronger storm than we thought it was going to be. All right. Usually these recipes tell you to add butter. So it helps that foaming process, but this one did not say that. This one did not say to do that. Okay, now to the full rolling boil. I'm going to put my timer on for 1 minute. I'm going to go 2 minutes. And this is a part where you're supposed to stir it. But the pan is hot. The steam is hot. I don't have a long enough. I think I need to get a longer spoon for this. The stock pot is deep. All right, I set it for 2 minutes, but I'm going to turn it off at 1 minute because, ooh, that is hot. And it is boiling away. Three, two, one. All right, there's 1 minute. I'm just going to move it off the stove. I'm going to turn off my timer. Oh, does that smell good? Hopefully. Yeah, that's good. It's got a little tart to it, like you want. But it's not sour. It's not sour. All right, I'm going to put my towel down. I'm going to put my sugar away. I was kind of surprised that put my book away. I don't need my book. I was really surprised that sugar fit in my Tupperware. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm just fixing up my, hold on, I'm gonna try to fix this so you can see what's going on. Okay, I do like this stand a little bit better because it does allow me to move it around. See, now you can see what this looks like inside. It's hot and bubbly. Get my jars. This is can be such a messy process. Especially for me. I make messes. I try not to make a mess, but oh well, it doesn't, I'm always messy. I've got random jars. Most of the jars are these cute little jelly jars, and then I got these older jars. Then I've got a tall jar. Oops. All right. Let me get my canner. These are going to be water bath. So let me get water in my canner. Move my Tupperware. Rings. Get my lids. I'm always buying lids. This is my last box of lids already. I should probably put these lids in a pan of hot water, but I don't ever do that with my lids and rings, or my lids especially. I don't ever do that. So, and everything seems to work fine without doing that. So, the recipe does say hot jars, and doesn't say anything about hot lids. It just says hot jars. All right, so I'm filling my canner at least halfway full. because, oh shoot, it's got all kinds of junk on the bottom. I had my canner sitting outside. It's got some stuff on the bottom. I had it sitting outside because when I dump the water out, I dump it out outside usually. I gotta rinse this out because this isn't cleaned. Bear with me. I know it's boring looking at the table. Bear with me. It's easier to start my canner with some hot water instead of cold water because it just will come up and boil a little bit faster. So, oh, I do need my book because I gotta find out what the time is. I have notes in here. I don't even know what page I was on. What page was I on? I would think that it would just go right back to that page. I gotta find what page I was on. Ugh. Okay. All right, and I'm going to turn this burner on high as I'm getting my jars filled up. Let me see. I'm trying to find the recipe. Where is it? Good grief. It's pickles, jellies. Here we go. No, I don't want jelly. I want jam. Here it is. Okay, so boil hard for 1 minute. Strain constantly. Remove from it. Skim off the foam if necessary. I don't need to do the foam. Little hot jars or hot jam into hot jars, leaving a 1/4 inch headspace. And then process 10 minutes in a boiling water canner. All right, so I'm gonna get my, I got my funnel. I just need I'm gonna use a measuring cup today instead of my big measuring cup that I usually use. Now be careful, like I say, this is extremely hot. Extremely hot. That's like 1 inch headspace. Try to pour it a little slow so I don't splash. I have towels and things down because stuff splashes, stuff drips. I'm messy. Yeah. This was a bonus recipe in my eyes because I was watching a lady last night. She has a YouTube page. She is a homestead person. They have a large family. They have a lot of property. They do their gardens. They raise their own livestock. And she was talking about, people were asking her, do you go bulk produce shopping to canned foods? And she said no, because they have their garden and they try to grow enough food in their garden to sustain them for 1 year. And it would cost her more money in the long run to do that as opposed to canning their own produce that they grow. For me, I live in Florida. I don't have a lot of property. I can't grow a garden because I don't have the space. I could grow little stuff, but I can't grow like big gardens of stuff. I did have a nice sized garden when we lived at another house. My husband wasn't really happy with me for digging up the yard like I did, because after the garden was done and I didn't do it anymore, there was big ruts and stuff in the yard from the garden. That was perfect. Perfect 12 jars. Oh my, that is so good. Man. Almost sit here with a spoon and look at this jam. It's so good. Wow. That would almost be worth making a piece of toast right now and having some of that on there. Scrape out the pot, you know, the spoon. You know, like when you were a kid and your mom was making a cake and all you wanted to do was eat that cake batter out of the bowl. I'm going to take this towel. It's a clean towel. I'm going to wet it with some warm water. And I'm going to use this towel to wipe off my rims to my jars, because you have to do that. And I can see on some of these jars, because I have a drippy mess, that I've got stuff on these rims for sure. Used with the towel that'll allow me to use different parts of the towel. That one there looks for sure like a 1/4 inch headspace. I'll get my measuring tool out just to check. I never ever used to do that, but I'm watching more and more people do that. And I'm not going to do it because I'm going to get uptight about if it's too low. I always used to do these at 1 inch headspace anyway. But the recipe did say 1/4 inch headspace. I know this is a boring step, but it's an important one. Is if that jam stays on the rim here, and then you stick your lid there, it's not going to seal. Would that hurt my feelings if it didn't seal? No, because I'll eat it. But if you go through this, you go through all this, and I'm not even going to call it trouble because that was really not trouble. The cherries were frozen. I already had them. All I had to do was weigh them out. Now when I go to save that recipe, I'll save that, what I did. I'll write down, maybe I'll make notes in my book. I don't usually make notes in my book. I usually take a piece of paper, make a note, put the page number on it and what I did to it, and then stick it in my book. That way when I go back to cherry jam another time, I have that note in there that tells me what I did previously. Because why have to go through the trouble to find out how many pounds in a quart when I already did that once, I've already done that. Okay, so now my rings and my lids. Fingertip tight, as usual. Those are hot jars. And see, that's the other reason why I don't have my jars sitting in hot water. Because when you put that jam in there, it's hot. You only want these rings fingertip tight because they say that it can buckle in the canner. I don't know, then they won't seal. I don't know, you have problems. I've always just done them the way they say. I've never had a problem. I mean, I don't want to say I never had a problem with something not sealing, because I have had that problem. You saw that yesterday. But on a whole, as a rule, I don't usually have issues. I've been very fortunate that I haven't had any troubles. All right, let me bring you up so you can see what I'm doing. Just gonna put my jars in the canner. I have this nice little basket that I can hang on the canner pan itself. Load my jars. That'll work. And then I just lower them into the pot. And my jars have to be covered at least by an inch. I go 2 inches. So I had that taller jar in there. It's not underwater. So I'm going to have to add extra water. If I had all those little jars, it would have been fine. But I got that one tall one in there. That should be funny. It's at least 2 inches. And then put the lid on. Oh, that one jar wants to tip over. Try to get these jars stand up straight. There we go. Sometimes I want to tip over. It might tip over anyway because I'm going to be bringing that up to a boil. So you bring your canner up to a boil and then you turn it down to a slow simmer and just let it bubble. Blurp, 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 blurp. You don't want a hard boil for 10 minutes. So, and then after the 10 minutes is up, I'll turn the burner off. I'll take the lid off and I'll let them sit in there for another 5 minutes. And then I will take them out and lay them on a clean towel. I have another one of these towels. See, this one's kind of dirty as I got jam all over it. So I'll just I'll rinse this out right now, and then I have another one sitting here. Now, what I use is I've been buying these flour sack towels at is that what they call them? I don't have the thing for them anymore. Flour sack towels or flour sack linen, and they're you can buy them at Walmart, and it's in the they don't have them in the candy section. They usually just have them in the houseware section somewhere. Sometimes I find them on the end cap. They're like $3 for a package of 6, I think. They're not real expensive, and I'll buy a couple packs at a time. I use them for a lot of things. I use them for making my butter. I use them for making the elderberry juice when I got to squeeze out the berries. It works a lot better than cheesecloth. They're thicker than cheesecloth, but they are more effective for juicing things and using them for, like I said, when I'm squeezing out my butter and different things that I use them for. I like them better than the cheesecloth. I have to double, triple, quadruple the cheesecloth to get stuff, and why bother? I like these better. And then when they get really old and nasty, I just throw them away. I wash them. I don't like to wash them in the wash machine with soap anymore because if I'm using them for food, I don't want soap smell or anything like that. So I will, like this one with the jam on it, I will put it in my sink with some hot water and some vinegar, and I'll let it just sit in there and soak for a bit, and then rinse it out, and then I hang it up out in my laundry area on a hook and let them dry. I don't even put them in the dryer. I just put them on the hook. And then so these older ones that I have that I don't use for food anymore because they're just really stained up, I'll use for stuff like the canning. Put my jars on, because I can use them for that until they get so old that I just pitch them. Because for the cost of what you get, that's not horrible, and I get a long time out of them. I just bought some brand new ones because I want to make more butter, and the ones I have for the butter are looking kind of ragged, so I want to get rid of those and use new ones. So and like with the elderflower or the elderberry, when I squeeze out that purple juice, the rag itself is green because it's just the berries and the stems, and it looks really gross when I'm done with it, but I marked that one for elderberry and then, or I get rid of it and use a new one or get another one. So anyway, enough rambling. When my jam is done, I'm not going to come back today for a follow-up. but I will take a photo of the jelly after it's done and sealed, and I will post a picture on my community tab on my YouTube page. There's a community tab. There's all kinds of photos of things I've done, close-up pictures and things. So I will post a picture of the jelly there, or the jam there. And so if you enjoy my page and you like what you see and you have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Ring the bell. You will be notified when I post a new video. And you've been crooked all this time. Sorry about that. And I appreciate you watching today. And so be safe and be healthy until we meet again on another cooking, baking, or canning project, or gardening. You never know what I'm going to be doing. Till we meet up again next time. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.